Jesus was crucified, has been raised. The narrative depicts Mary Magdalene, Peter, and the unnamed disciple discovering the empty tomb. The empty tomb is the visible sign that Jesus has conquered death and a new creation has begun. Mary's grief is turned into joy as she proclaims, "I have seen the Lord." You notice three things. People are searching. There is sadness and fear. And again, there is action, there is surprise, and there is joy. Mary Magdalene is the first to break the fear and walk through the darkness towards the tomb. Mary Magdalene is also the first to go to the grave and to discover it to be empty, without the body of Jesus. I'm Father Feroz Fernandes, and thank you for being on my channel and watching this video. I appreciate you watching my videos and promoting them to your friends. This is a very active ministry that brings scripture to you and allows you to come closer to God, and in fact allows me to give my best to proclaim the gospel. And if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, press the notification bell that you may not miss out any of my videos on the channel, and give this video a like. Share this video with your friends and tell me what you feel in the comment section below. Thank you. So jumping to conclusion, without the stone on the tomb, Mary assumes that someone has stolen the body of Jesus. The author does not tell us whether Mary really entered the tomb. But by looking at the tomb, she assumes that someone has stolen the body of Jesus. And the drama unfolds, running with disbelief. Mary is running towards Peter to inform him that the body of Jesus is stolen. Now Peter and the unnamed disciples, whom many assume to be John the Apostle, they start running towards the tomb. John, or the unnamed disciple, being the younger, arrives at the tomb first and waits for his senior partner Peter to arrive. The moment Peter enters the tomb, he discovers the tomb to be empty. You have heard this. The presence of two male disciples were required by the Torah as a legal witness to say that the tomb was empty. A woman had no legal standing, so a woman's witness did not count. The author provides interesting details of what is inside the tomb. Now Peter had an experience of Lazarus being raised from dead, and Peter now discovered that the wrappings are nicely rolled up and put up in another part of the tomb. The author is pointing out that the tomb is empty. There are no angels, no messengers. Now the cloth wrappings neatly disposed is a sign that there is no theft. The thieves would have not left the wrappings nicely folded. You hear this powerful statement, the beloved disciples saw inside the tomb and believed. What does it mean? The gospel writer John says the beloved disciples looked into the empty tomb and believed. What did he believe? Did he believe what Mary said was correct, that someone has stolen Jesus' body? Or did he believe that Jesus has conquered the world as Jesus spoke during the Last Supper? The author does not tell us that the beloved disciple did not communicate what he believed to Peter or to Mary. You also notice there are no shouts, no celebration. The empty tomb at this point does not make a difference. They are all uncertain. What we can assume is the beloved disciple can see and believe more than Peter, who can see and not believe. That beloved disciple can see and believe, not like Thomas, who demand an irrefutable evidence to believe in Jesus. What is Mary doing outside the tomb? Now you see Peter and the beloved disciples leave the scene. Mary waits behind and she discovers the risen Lord. The focus is Mary standing outside the tomb. Mary Magdalene is weeping. Peter and the other disciples, it looks like, offered no words of comfort to Mary. And now Mary finds a person whom she assumes as a gardener. So imagine the horror of finding a grave of a loved one desecrated. Mary fails to recognize Jesus, perhaps because she is overwhelmed by emotional distress, tears, or darkness. The motive appears to be Mary being called out by her name. You see Jesus' opponents failed to recognize the Messiah because of their hostility. But here, Jesus' friend, Mary Magdalene, finds it difficult to recognize Jesus because of the emotional distress. It is our trajectory. We find difficult to recognize Jesus into our life due to the events that overwhelm us. There are three functions of the cloth wrappings found in the grave. It provides a visual reference of Jesus' resurrection. The body is gone, and the cloth wrapping is a sign that the body was here. Secondly, it indicates Jesus' body was not stolen. The grave robbers would have not left the valuable linen cloth behind. The grave robbers and all the Jewish authorities would not waste time to unwrap the body and leave the wrapping. It would delay their escape and increase their risk of discovery. The grave scene is described in a very orderly fashion. It is not a site of robbery or abduction. Finally, there is this theological function. Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, and when he came out, his body was wrapped in clothes of burial. And Jesus had to order people to unwrap him so that he could continue his normal life. Jesus emerges from the tomb, leaving the cloth wrappings behind. Pay attention, this is like questions and answers. This story leads us to the beginning of the Gospel of John. In the beginning, Jesus' first words are to the disciples of John the Baptist. What are you looking for? And in this story, we see Jesus' words to Mary. Whom are you looking for? It is the beginning of a new story. Jesus is asking each one of us, whom are you looking for? So in case of Mary, she recognizes Jesus as her Rabboni, meaning teacher. When the disciples of John the Baptist calls Jesus Rabbi, Jesus invites them to come and see. Each one of us are invited to come and see what God has done in our world. Mary and the two disciples on the road to Emmaus failed to recognize Jesus. The two disciples recognized Jesus when Jesus broke bread, and Mary recognized Jesus when Jesus called her by name. We recognize God's presence into our life in different ways, but definitely you will recognize God's presence into your life. The symbolism of darkness in gardens, what does it mean? In the beginning of creation, there is darkness, there is absence of light. Now, we are told that Mary is walking through the darkness towards the empty tomb. It's a declaration of a new beginning, a new creation. The old things have passed away. We are in the garden, and without even knowing, Mary is identifying Jesus as the gardener. In the creation story, God is driving Adam and Eve out of the garden. Here, Jesus is sending Mary Magdalene out of the garden, rejoicing to tell the world about the good news, about a new beginning, a new creation. Jesus' resurrection is central to our faith. As Paul would say, if Christ has not been raised, our preaching is in vain. So also your faith is in vain. The resurrection of Jesus gave the disciples the courage to tell the good news to the whole world. God bless you and happy Easter blessing. Thank you for staying with me and watching this entire video. I appreciate you giving this video a like, sharing this video with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed still, hit the subscribe button, press the notification bell so that you may not miss out any of this video. Let's together continue to spread the love for scriptures and proclaim the gospel.